Most people get fewer than 4 of these Nile River questions right, and I bet you're about to join them. Think you know Africa's greatest river? Let's see if you can handle the truth about what they've been hiding for millennia. Question 1. Everyone knows the Nile is long, but here's what will blow your mind. Which modern country controls the source of 85% of the Nile's water during flood season? Think about it. Is it Egypt? Sudan? Maybe Uganda? It's Ethiopia. The Blue Nile, which provides the vast majority of the Nile's water, flows from Lake Tana in the Ethiopian highlands. Egypt's entire civilization depends on water that doesn't even originate in their country. This is why Ethiopia's new Grand Renaissance Dam has Egypt absolutely terrified. Question 2. The ancient Egyptians had a name for the Nile that reveals something shocking about how they saw their world. What did they call it? Think about it. What would you call the river that eyes your entire world? They called it Ituru, which simply means the river. Not the river or our river, the river. To them, it was the only river that mattered in the entire universe. They literally couldn't conceive of their world without it. Question 3. Here's where it gets wild. The Nile flows through how many countries before reaching the Mediterranean? Think about it. More than 5. More than 10. 11 countries. Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, Kenya, Ethiopia, South Sudan, Sudan, Egypt, Democratic Republic of Congo, and Eritrea. This river connects nearly half of Africa's nations, making it the ultimate unifier of the continent. Question 4. The Nile's flooding was so predictable that ancient Egyptians based their entire calendar on it. But here's the shocking part: when did the annual flood typically begin? Think about it. Summer. Winter. Spring. July 19th. Every single year, like clockwork, the flood began around the same date. The Egyptians called this Wep Rompet, the opening of the year. They literally started their new year when the Nile flooded because that's when life began again. Question 5. Now this will make your brain explode. The ancient Greeks had a mind-bending theory about what caused the Nile's floods. What did they think was happening? Think about it. Remember, they had no idea about Ethiopian monsoons. They thought the snow was melting in the mountains of the moon. Herodotus and other Greek scholars believed there were snow-capped mountains somewhere in the heart of Africa that melted and caused the floods. They were actually partially right. The Ethiopian highlands do get snow. Question 6. Here's something that will shock you about Nile exploration. The first European to reach the source of the White Nile made a discovery that changed everything we knew about African geography. Who was it and what year? Think about it. This was way later than you think. John Hanning Speke in 1862. He reached Lake Victoria and declared it the source. But here's the kicker: Africans had known about these lakes for millennia. Europeans spent centuries discovering what Africans already knew perfectly well. Question 7. The Nile has witnessed some of the most brutal battles in history. Which Roman emperor died in the Nile, and why is his death still controversial? Think about it. This emperor was known for something very specific about his appearance. Hadrian's lover Antinous drowned in the Nile in 130 CE. But here's the conspiracy: many historians believe Hadrian actually sacrificed his young lover to the river gods to save his own life. The grief-stricken emperor founded an entire city at the spot where Antinous died. Question 8. Now we're getting into the really hidden stuff. The Nile was central to the most successful female pharaoh in history. She used the river for a trade expedition that made Egypt incredibly wealthy. Who was she? Think about it. This pharaoh ruled for 22 years and wore a false beard. Hatshepsut. She sent trading expeditions down the Red Sea to the mysterious land of Punt, bringing back gold, ivory, and exotic animals. These Nile-connected trade routes made her reign one of the most prosperous in Egyptian history, but male pharaohs tried to erase her from history. Question 9. Here's something absolutely mind-blowing about Nile engineering. The ancient Nubians built a structure on the Nile that was more advanced than anything the Egyptians ever created. What was it? Think about it. The Nubians ruled Egypt for nearly a century. They said El Kafara Dam. Built around 2600 BC in Sudan, it was the world's first masonry dam. The Nubians were dam building masters centuries before the Aswan Dam. They controlled the Nile's flow with engineering that wouldn't be matched for thousands of years. Question 10, final question before our bonus round. The Nile created one of history's most powerful civilizations that most people have never heard of. This kingdom controlled the Nile for over 1,000 years and had female rulers called Kandaks. What kingdom was this? Think about it. They buried their royalty in more pyramids than Egypt. The Kingdom of Kush. Based in modern Sudan, they built over 200 pyramids and ruled both Nubia and Egypt as the 25th dynasty. The Romans feared their warrior queens so much they negotiated peace treaties rather than fight them. Bonus question, here's the ultimate Nile mystery that scholars still debate. According to ancient sources, there was a legendary kingdom along the Nile that was ruled by women warriors and contained unimaginable wealth. Greek historians wrote about it, but its location remains a mystery. What was it called? Think about it. This kingdom supposedly inspired Greek myths about warrior women. The Kingdom of the Amazons of Africa. Ancient sources placed it somewhere along the Upper Nile, ruled by warrior queens who controlled vast gold mines. Whether it existed or not, it shows how the Nile was seen as a river of mysteries and untold riches. So how many did you get right? If you got more than 6, you're officially a Nile genius. Send this to someone who thinks they know African history. I guarantee they'll be humbled by question 3.